Hey guys, what is going on, Frag fam? I hope you guys are all doing well. Elliot here. Welcome back to The Fragrance Well. For today's video subject matter, we are going to be talking about erotic fragrances. No, not fragrances that literally smell like erotic activities or sex. That usually smells like bodily fluids and sweat. That may not actually be a pleasant thing if you're not in the moment. I'm just talking about fragrances that either just smell sexy, smell very attractive, and things like that. And I've got a variety of fragrances that give off erotic vibes, in my opinion. I've got 8 fragrances to help me with this subject matter, and each of them do give off a slightly different way of erotic vibes, and we're gonna see what I'm talking about once we get into them. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get right into it. But before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you do like the content, and please hit that bell icon and enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, guys, to kick it off, we got one from Rosendo Mateu, and it's going to be number 5. Rosendo Mateu, number 5. And in my opinion, this is pound for pound one of the sexiest smelling fragrances out there. It is certainly the case within my cabinet, but yeah, I'm thinking outside of my cabinet. This stuff just smells so freaking attractive. It is a white floral, slightly suede, like leathery, vanilla, soft musk fragrance. It's got this pillowy kind of characteristic to it. I don't know, I'm thinking pillow talk here or something like that. I mean, it's just pound for pound, it has that quality to it. Those of you who know, you know what I'm talking about. It's just such a inviting smelling fragrance. And it is perfect for like the date night scenario, going past the date night, if you know what I mean, scenario. The fragrance just has that going for it. I don't know if Rosendo Mateu was going for that exactly when he created this, but all I know is this fragrance just has that quality to it. It hits the nail right on the head in terms of being an incredible, sexy smelling fragrance. So once again, from Rosendo Mateu, this one here is number 5. All right, the next one's gonna be coming from Dolce & Gabbana, and this is the one. Dolce & Gabbana, the one. This is the eau de parfum. I think the EDT is the same because they pretty much smell the same. So the thing about this fragrance here, perfect date night fragrance. It really is. But going beyond that, I think what this fragrance has is what I'm gonna call general attractiveness. If you think about certain people on the planet that are just kind of known to be generally considered attractive, think about that in a smell form. That's what the one is. You've got a little bit of citrus, very bright and warm spiciness, very heavy on the cardamom in this. I think there's also some coriander. There's also grapefruit smell, a little bit of a tobacco-y nature to it. It is ambery as well, a little bit woody too. It is just the perfect blend for the general baseline attractive smell in terms of an evening wear fragrance. And for that reason, this fragrance here will absolutely work in terms of putting you in the erotic mindset. If you've ever gotten a hug from somebody while wearing this fragrance, it's one of those fragrances where the hug may last a little bit longer than it would otherwise. Sure, it's not the most exotic thing. It's not the most daring fragrance, if you will, in terms of what the makeup is, but the stuff just simply works. So none of that really matters when you're talking about evoking the erotic senses, if you will, in the form of smell. So once again, from Dolce & Gabbana, this one here is the one eau de parfum. All right, moving on. The next one's coming from Histoires des Parfums, and this is Noir Patchouli. Noir Patchouli from Histoires des Parfums. All right, so first of all, the smell of this. This is going to be a scent that is truly for patchouli lovers, in my opinion. The thing about it is, when you think about like some of the most popular patchouli fragrances out there, a lot of them do not quite have the characteristic of this. This has very soft floral feel, spiciness, kind of a powdery, spicy feel. And the patchouli in this is really softened with a lot of musk as well. Matter of fact, when this dries all the way down, I think it's more musk than it is patchouli, but you still get the patchouli characteristics there, the earthy, leafy vibe that you can get from patchouli. So that's what this is, and it's in the form that I think you kind of have to be a real appreciator of patchouli to like it. Now, past all that, why do I have this on the erotic scents list? This fragrance literally, and I think I've told this story before, smells like this like mega adult store that we have here in Central Florida that me and my wife have gone to a few times. And it kind of smells like that store. That's the reason I got this on the list. I don't remember what the inspiration for this fragrance is, but I've heard before that like in the 70s, erotic spaces or things where, you know, that kind of behavior was encouraged had smells maybe similar to this. I've heard that before. So that's kind of why I put this on this list. It just maybe makes me think of a space where, you know, exploring your fantasies, if you will, is encouraged. And it definitely smells like that store where, you know, any fantasy you can think of is definitely encouraged. So once again, from Histoires des Parfums, this is Noir Patchouli. All right, next one's gonna be coming from Giorgio Armani. This is Stronger With You, Absolutely. Come on, focus. Thank you. This is Emporio Armani, Stronger With You, Absolutely. So this one here plays on a little bit more of the, shall we say, the yummy smell, if you will, in terms of the erotic nature. You know, if somebody just wants to nibble on your neck, so to speak. I think this fragrance has those qualities. What you're getting from this is booziness, kind of a warm, slightly spicy, nutty nature. It's vanillic. It has a little bit of a fresh aspect to kind of counter that a little bit. There is a good use of patchouli in here as well that gives the more chocolatey feel, so adding to that gourmand facet, so to speak. And I think, you know, a lot of people do associate gourmand fragrances with smelling yummy, which does imply a little bit of an erotic nature. I mean, it kind of makes sense if the whole idea is to smell, you know, almost edible to the point where, you know, somebody wants to almost eat you up, so to speak. That could imply kind of an erotic fantasy, if you will. And most gourmand fragrances are kind of considered to be attention-grabbing kind of fragrances, so that's why I included one that gives that on this list. So once again, from Emporio Armani, this one here is Stronger With You, Absolutely. All right, next one's coming from Arabian Oud. This one here is going to be Royal Oud. Arabian Oud, Royal Oud. So this is a very simple but amazing smelling scent. It is rose and oud and musk to kind of tie the two together. Smells absolutely regal, smells luxurious, smells amazing. The reason I decided to include it on the list is I'm thinking an erotic setting where, you know, maybe it's just very, very exclusive, rooftop kind of stuff, private jet kind of stuff. That's pretty much the main reason I'm including this one on the list, because it just has a very luxurious smell to it. And I do think the smell of this is quite attractive. It really can captivate some noses. That being said, I think the setting matters in here, which is why I mentioned those kind of more exclusive settings like the private jet or the rooftop, the penthouse, that kind of thing. This isn't the kind of thing that's gonna pull off the erotic vibe in your most basic setting. That's why we got other fragrances to kind of capture that. So once again, from Arabian Oud, this one here is Royal Oud. All right, guys, next one's coming from Francesca Bianchi. This is Sticky Fingers. Francesca Bianchi Sticky Fingers. All right, so first off, what is this fragrance? It's kind of a dusty, spicy, floral leather fragrance. There is a little bit of iris or orris butter in here, almost giving this buttery feel. Spices, right now I can't remember what the spices listed are. None really stick out to me. It's kind of a blend of spices, and there's just this kind of leathery facet tying it all together. And man, not gonna be for everyone, but it's not really a tough fragrance either. But it's just, it doesn't smell like your typical stuff out there, which is synonymous with a lot of Francesca Bianchi offerings. She likes to use very heavy, very strong ingredients, and that kind of motivated my reason for including one of her fragrances on the list. I think her fragrances play to some of those primal urges we sometimes have. It's just kind of raw and dirty, if that makes sense. From the erotic standpoint, I think this fragrance gives off a little bit of that mysterious vibe, a little bit of mystery. You don't quite know what you're getting into, and sometimes that can be a good thing and sometimes not, so watch yourself. But this is great smelling stuff here, and it walks just a little bit of a different walk than your typical fragrance. So once again, from Francesca Bianchi, this one here is Sticky Fingers. All right, guys, next one's coming from Lorenzo Pizzalia. This is Sun-Gria. Lorenzo Pizzalia Sun-Gria. So first of all, let me give a shout out to Lorenzo Pizzalia and this fragrance. If I'm not mistaken, this won Fragrance of the Year at Scent Explore, so congratulations for that. And so what is this? And just in case you haven't gotten your nose on it yet, it is a play on the sangria, but it's more of a fruity, sweet, juicy play on it, kind of fun and playful, which is also the reason I chose to include this on the list. This one here is youthful, carefree, erotic vibes. I mean, it does smell yummy. It does smell very attractive and alluring. It has the sweetness going for that, but it's very, very playful, very, very vibrant and energetic. That's why I said this is more of like youthful people doing youthful things. That's certainly not the only thing that comes to mind when I smell this fragrance, but it does kind of put me in that mindset of when I was a lot younger and just a little bit more carefree and just trying to have fun as much as I can. So once again, from Lorenzo Pizzalia, this is Sun-Gria, and once again, congratulations, Scent Explorer Fragrance of the Year. All right, and the final fragrance for this list from Tom Ford. This is Tobacco Oud. Tom Ford Tobacco Oud. Oh, and by the way, I mean, if you think about many of the offerings Tom Ford has, you could probably make an entire video dedicated to this subject matter from Tom Ford, because a lot of that thought process does go into many of his offerings. But we're talking about Tobacco Oud now. So what is this? First of all, this is a blend of spices. You could think maybe cardamom and I don't know if it's cinnamon, but cardamom and maybe kind of more earthier spices, if that makes sense. It does have a little bit of a dirty, ashy kind of smell. The tobacco in here gives off that characteristic. It's woody as well, and a little bit of booziness, kind of a whiskey kind of booziness also. This fragrance here, in terms of the erotic vibes, I'm thinking like mysterious, but also a little bit dangerous. Bad boy or bad girl kind of vibes, leather jacket kind of vibes. You can find them in an elegant setting, but they're doing some pretty crazy things when the lights go off. That's the kind of vibe this fragrance gives off. This fragrance is certainly not going to be for everyone. It is a certain vibe that this fragrance has, so definitely, if you can, get your nose on it first. I think you can still get samples of it. It was kind of hard to find for a while, but every time I look at the typical discounter stores now, they seem to always have this in stock, so it seems like it's a little bit more available now. But really good stuff if you like fragrances that are a little bit more daring but do have a wonderful, spicy, slightly smoky tobacco nature to them. I certainly love this fragrance. But yeah, again, it's not going to be for everyone, but it is a certain type of vibe that I do appreciate. So once again, from Tom Ford, this one here is Tobacco Oud. All right, guys, that is going to do it for this video. If you've got any fragrances in your collection that you think give off erotic or sexy vibes, however you want to frame it, put them down in the comments below. We'd love to see what you guys have to say. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you guys. Please remember to be well and smell well, and I'll see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.